Hello and welcome to our Friday episode, right before the weekend. Yay weekend. It is FriYAY, and this is episode 7. And in this episode, we're going to recap the MLB picks that we made yesterday. And then we're also going to talk some NFL. Some big NFL news just came out yesterday. And then we are also going to talk about the women's NBA, some big news there with a certain player. We are going to touch on that. And then we got some NASCAR. I know there's some NASCAR fans out there, so we're going to talk a little bit about some NASCAR. But before we do all that, how you doing, Tim? How's your Friday going so far?
Going good.
That's what I like to hear, buddy. All right, well, let's get this show started. And just so everybody is aware, you guys could follow us on our Facebook page at the Markley Sportscast. Our Twitter is the @handle Markley Sports. And then our YouTube, Markley Sportscast. Please give us a like, follow, comment, all that stuff. And then subscribe to our Spotify. And then, of course, if you would like to donate, it's not mandatory. Tips are always welcomed. But if you would like to donate, they are also on our pages as well using Cash App and Venmo. All right, Tim, as we start every show, we got a very interesting hot take that I know me and you are probably going to agree on, but there's a lot of people out there, a.k.a. my brother, would not agree with, but we're going to go with this hot take. And before we go over it, viewers, if you want to message in on the hot take, it's the markleysportscast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you because this is going to be a pretty interesting debate. I guarantee you, though, and I don't know yet, but I guarantee you, though, Timmy and I have the same person for this. So, Timmy, our hot take is, who do you think the GOAT of the NFL is? And this could be past or present, or hell, if you want to put in a future that you think is going to, you're more than welcome to. But who would you label as the GOAT, greatest of all time?
Oh, it has to be Tom Brady. This is a guy, he has 7 Super Bowl rings, and that's more than any franchise has. He's done it all. He's a 5-time Super Bowl MVP, 3-time NFL MVP, 6-time All-Pro, 2-time Offensive Player of the Year, a member of 2 All-Decade teams from the 2000s and the 2010s, and 22 years, and he's been playing for 22 years, and he's still playing at an elite level. So I don't see how anyone could make an argument for anyone else in the game of football.
For your argument page, I do have to say Noah would argue Peyton Manning is the GOAT, but it's a little bit of bias because Noah's a huge Colts fan, which is, where Peyton played for most of his career except that short stint in Denver.
Right.
But if you asked me, I agree with Tim. The GOAT in the NFL, you'd look no further than somebody that's currently there as an old man, playing quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He did retire again and then unretire, and he's back. So I still look for great things from him this upcoming season, no matter how old he is. I do not like Tom Brady. I am a Steelers fan. I've never liked Tom Brady. He is a crybaby to me. He whines. He gets his way. All that stuff you can make all kinds of arguments about. But at the end of the day, I'm a guy that's going to respect greatness. And what he's done over his career is unreal, unfathomable. And first off, without even reading any stat line, everybody was under the impression that Brady was what you would call a quote-unquote system quarterback. He can't win without Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's the greatest coach ever. It's not Tom Brady. It's because he's in Bill Belichick's system. Brady heard all that. Brady goes to Tampa Bay, and in his first year at Tampa Bay, wins the Super Bowl. You can't tell me that it's system quarterback or it's not system quarterback, because he just proved that he's not a system quarterback. He went to a complete different system with a complete different coach. So that's even without reading any stat line. Then the most impressive to me, his Super Bowl against the Falcons, he was down 28-3 at halftime. That means there's only 2 quarters left. They come back and win that game. And then you look at he's been to 10 Super Bowls in his career, and he's lost 3 of them to the Philadelphia Eagles and then 2 to Eli Manning. Like I said in the previous podcast, Eli Manning had Tom Brady's number in the Super Bowl. So the man shows up every weekend. He plays hard, and he always gives his team that ability to win. It doesn't matter how bad his team is, he's still going to give them that ability to win. And remember, he's 44 years old, and he's still competing at a high level as a quarterback who gets hit a lot. So it's without a doubt not even close Tom Brady, in my opinion. So for anyone that doesn't think it's Tom Brady, or maybe you do, and want to add some points to what Tim and I said, you could absolutely do that at our email, but it's definitely Tom Brady is the GOAT. You know what? He always will be the GOAT. I don't even see anybody, even Arch Manning, is not even going to surpass him. So, absolutely Tom Brady. All right, Tim. In our first segment, we had a pretty successful MLB picks, which we kind of hinted at on the show that we should be going undefeated in this, and we did. We both went 4-0. Pretty interesting games, though, to be honest with you. They turned out to be good games.
Right.
The first one we'll recap is the Yankees and the Red Sox, divisional rivals. The Yankees ended up winning by 1 run, 6-5. And I'll tell you right now, that's big because now they're up 14 games, which is huge, almost at the All-Star break to be up that many games above the Red Sox. What were your thoughts on this game, Tim?
Well, I actually expected maybe a shutout. Yeah. I'm surprised that the Red Sox scored that many.
Yeah, for the Yankees, I call them the Bronx Bombers, and that's exactly what they are. Donaldson had a grand slam, and then the very next hitter was Hicks, hit a solo home run. So there was their 5 runs right there in that inning. Then Cole got the W, going 6 innings, 5 earned runs, and 7 Ks. Once again, I am very hard on Garrett Cole because he's got all this money. I think he needs a better stat line than that. That's my personal opinion. I mean, it's still a good stat line, but we're paying him a ridiculous amount of money.
It's actually not a good stat line.
I mean, I'll take it.
Okay, he won, but only because they scored a bunch of runs. Look at a guy like DeGrom. Okay, all these years when he was losing all these games, but only giving up 1 run or something.
Yeah,
that's a good stat line.
You're right. But I mean, I'll take it just because we got the dub. He did have 7 Ks, which that's Garrett Cole-like, I guess. Next game, we did the first game. Just so our viewers know, the first game of this doubleheader between the Pirates and the Reds. The Pirates actually lost the second game, but they won the first game 4-2. Timmy and I both picked them. Now this is a good stat line. Contreras got the win. He went 6 innings, 1 earned run, and 7 Ks. Offensive-wise, the Pirates were led by Chavez. Is that how you say it, I think? As his 2-run double gave them the lead, and they never looked back from there. So they did win that first game due to great pitching and Chavez getting that double.
And then Contreras got sit down today.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that, but okay, interesting. I saw they picked up somebody from the Guardians for cash considerations, a left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, somebody the Guardians picked up from the Mariners for cash.
All right, well, we'll see how that pans out.
I think I'd rather see Rowanzi, but whatever.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on your Pirates and your Reds?
No, just pretty much what we expected.
Yep. Our next game we did was the Kansas City Royals and the Houston Astros. The Astros won this game 5-2. Verlander notched his 11th win in a pretty strong outing. Remember, he is older. Going 6 innings with 8 Ks. Offensive side of the things, the Astros were led by none other than Jose Altuve. He had a home run in the game, another double. Pretty good. They're pretty good offensively, and then, of course, they have a pretty good pitching rotation. So that came no surprise to me that they won that game pretty easily.
Yeah, Verlander, he's got a good chance at 200 strikeouts this year.
Can you
That's,
say Cy Young?
I believe he's going to win it. How old is he now?
I have no clue.
36,
But he's,
37, something
he's
like
definitely
that.
up there where he should be declining. It seems like he's finding his stride.
Yeah. Right?
Our last game that we will recap were the Cubs and the Dodgers. The Cubs kept it close. I called it blowout, but the final score were the Dodgers 5, Cubs 3. Pretty interesting stat line, though. Gonsolin notched his 11th win, and he stays unbeaten on the mound. He went 7 innings with only 3 Ks, which Tim and I alluded to, that he is not your strikeout pitcher or your contact pitcher. So that stat line kind of proves that. But the best thing was, we always talk about how great the Dodgers' offense firepower is, and they blasted 4 homers in that game. The score was, they scored 5 runs. So 4 homers, that's pretty impressive. And they ultimately won 5-3. So with that being said, Tim and I both went 4-0. Yay. Tim's still beating me overall in all our picks with UFC combined. So that was pretty interesting. Tim, any more baseball news you want to talk about before we wrap up segment 1?
Nope, I don't think I heard of anything interesting today.
Well,
other than Contreras getting sent down.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And then yesterday's show, we talked about our commissioner picks. Well,
all right,
they came out today, and they picked Albert Pujols and Miggy Cabrera, which me and Tim were texting back and forth. We still don't know who the Tigers representative is going to be in the All-Star game.
Yeah, because it should have been Miggy anyway.
Right, but Manfred picked Miggy and Albert Pujols. So that was interesting. So that'll close the book for this week on MLB. We'll definitely be talking MLB next week, I'm sure, because that's the only sports season that's really going on right now. So segment 2, NFL. The first thing we'll talk about in the NFL is obviously what just happened. Baker Mayfield traded to the Carolina Panthers for like a 5th-round draft pick, something kind of low. Tim, were you able to see the Baker trade, and what's your thoughts on that?
Well, honestly, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Cleveland to trade him.
I agree.
I mean, it does make sense that they tried to get a better quarterback. But he hasn't played in 2 years. He's probably not going to play this year. And so they're traded this guy away, and then they don't really have anyone to quarterback for them. And, Mayfield is likely not going to be the quarterback in Jacksonville either.
You mean Carolina?
Carolina, yeah, sorry. Sam Darnold is likely still going to be the starting quarterback there. It just doesn't make a lot of sense because Mayfield, he was the number 1 draft pick, right?
Correct.
And you're trading him for like a 4th round or something to that effect.
Yeah, I think it was either 4th or 5th round.
Yeah, I don't know, but it just doesn't make any sense since I mean, they're going to have a need for a quarterback this season. They should have waited until next season.
Yeah, I agree. So for our viewers, Baker and the Browns had a big falling out. They ended up really disliking each other and disowning each other after last year. Browns went out. I don't know why. And on the Markley Sportscast, we're not getting political, but I don't know why Browns went after Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's in a lot of off-field trouble. There will be no criminal charges, but there's a lot of civil lawsuits going on against Deshaun Watson. He was a good quarterback. I mean, he really was. But he hasn't played. And if you think he's going to come in and turn the Browns around and be this great superstar that's going to make him go undefeated, you're probably sadly mistaken. And the best part about this is he's going to get suspended by the NFL for his doing on the civil part. Right. And they're talking a year, so he's not even going to be available next season. Then you have Baker, who, by the way, I like Baker. He's an ultra competitor. Last year he wasn't as good, but he hurt his shoulder, like seriously hurt his shoulder. He couldn't compete to the level that he needed to because his body wouldn't let it. So I don't understand the trade at all. And for a fifth round, I'm not real sure. However, there could be a little bit of issues with him going to Carolina. Ben McAdoo is there. He coached at the Giants, and during the draft, when Baker got drafted, he was very against Baker, saying he couldn't play quarterback. He was too small, and he had too little of hands to be an NFL quarterback. And McAdoo is now the coach of the Carolina Panthers, or one of the coaches of them. So that could be an issue, or maybe they'll just put it on the back burner and forget it ever happened. But personally, I disagree, Tim, on the part that he'll be a backup to Sam Darnold. I don't see that happening. I see Baker winning the starting job. And it's interesting. They play the Browns week 1.
Right.
And the Browns still are they still have to pay Baker on week 1. So the Browns are going to be paying Baker like $682,000 to beat them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because I think they're paying like $4 million of his salary or something like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You're trading him for a fourth round draft pick, and you're paying most of his salary.
Right. And that leads me to my next little question. You know, what's the Browns' plan at quarterback? What are they going to do? Because you got to figure Deshaun's going to be suspended. Like, let's already assume that he's going to be suspended. So now you have Jacoby Brissett as your backup. Right. Jacoby Brissett played in the NFL. He's not really started. He's kind of been the backup. He's a backup quarterback in the NFL. That's what he is. We're not going to sugarcoat it. He's a backup. So I think maybe Cam Newton said that he can still be a franchise quarterback. Do the Browns go after Cam Newton, or do they explore other options, or do they just ride the pine with Brissett and hope for the best?
I think that they're going to go with Brissett. He is. I mean, I'm not going to say he's as good as Watson, but his play style is similar, so it's going to fit into what they're trying to do there. So I think they're probably just going to go with Brissett and just hope for the best until Watson can come back.
Yeah, Brissett's a good backup quarterback. I agree 100%, and I would ride it with him. If something happens to like Brissett, or he's not panning out, then I would say let's go a Cam Newton route, or find somebody in the free agency. But ultimately, I do think they'll stay with Brissett. He's a pretty good quarterback for a backup. He really is. All right, other football news. Rob Gronkowski retires. ... Again. Go figure. He played a lot of years with Tom Brady in New England. He retires. Brady goes to Tampa. Brings Gronk out of retirement. Played a couple seasons with Brady. Now Gronk has retired again. What's your thoughts on Rob Gronk retiring once again?
Well, I don't know if you saw it, but like his agent almost immediately called BS on this.
Yep.
So I think it's just about getting some money, and I mean I really don't blame him, because with the receiver market what it is, he should be getting right around $15 million probably. Last year I think his salary was $8 million. So I mean I don't blame him. But yeah, I think he's just trying to get more money.
Yeah. I love Gronk. First off, him and Brady together are pretty impressive. Two old men just flinging a football around and catching it is pretty impressive. I'm with the agent. I would not be surprised if Tom calls him back and gets him to come back out of retirement. Gronk takes very good care of his body for as old and as big as he is. He takes very good care of it, and he definitely could come back and play pretty easily without it being a big toll on his body. I will always remember Gronk as one word: beast. And in the football world, he was absolutely a beast. He's a tight end that could catch any ball you throw at him. and he shredded my Steelers every single time they played. They could not guard Gronk. Got somebody 5'5" that could run a 40 under 4, but by God, they can't guard somebody 6 feet tall, 300 pounds of solid muscle. So he always killed my Steelers. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brady gets him to come back, but you never know. He might retire. He does have an attractive girlfriend in his life, TikTok star, that he might want to spend time on in the Miami Beach, Florida area with, and they heck on football. But ultimately, I think Tom Brady's going to bring him out of retirement, and they might win another ring together, believe it or not. This next one is something I'm very excited to answer. But Tim, I'll ask you first. Which rookie do you expect the most out of in the NFL this upcoming season?
Well, I think that the offensive rookie of the year is going to be from your team. Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett, I think, will be the offensive rookie of the year. On the defensive side, I think that we're probably looking at the Lions edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson.
No,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine. That's fine.
Well, I picked both. I took an offensive and a defensive one. You should have picked two of them too.
I should have.
Yeah.
But no, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I think that Hutchinson and Pickett will both be taking on the hardware this year.
Yeah. So first off, I'm going to pick on young Kenny Pickett. I love the pickup. I really do. I think he's going to be a good quarterback in the future. I do not even think he sniffs the starting field this year. We went out and got Mitch Trubisky. Unless something happens with Mitch Trubisky, I really don't see Kenny Pickett playing. But I hope he learns and adapts and could be the next future. Because us Steeler fans, especially me, that's loved Ben Roethlisberger for many years, we've been spoiled with Ben Roethlisberger. He's been great for us. He's won Super Bowls. He's hard to tackle. Been pretty good other than the last 3 years of his career. He's definitely declined. So I think Kenny Pickett has what it takes, but it's definitely going to be in the future. And I cannot believe you picked Aiden Hutchinson. I did not think you were going to.
Well, on Pickett, he may not be the starting quarterback at the beginning of the season, but by the end of the season, he will be.
Yeah, I see a lot of people saying by week 6 or 7 that they expect him to start. And maybe he will. I don't know.
But he's also got a decent chance of winning the job in preseason.
He does. Because Trubisky was a backup quarterback, so he absolutely has that.
Pickett definitely has the skill set to win that job. So
I agree.
See what happens.
We'll
see what happens.
But yes, the most rookie I expect out of is Aiden Hutchinson. Everybody knows I'm a Michigan fan. He played for my Wolverines. He led us to the playoffs. He lost in the semis. He was huge. I wanted him to fall so far back that the Steelers could pick him up and have him and TJ Watt on the edges and we'd be unstoppable. But he went to the Lions. I will say this about the Lions. They are a dumpster fire in the NFL. They have a lot of issues. So I think it was a stellar pick for the Lions. And, of course, Hutchinson had a stellar career at Michigan as an edge rusher. The thing I loved about Hutchinson in Michigan is he played hard every single snap. It didn't matter. He didn't take a snap off. He played hard every single snap, caused havoc in the backfield almost every game. And I think, personally, he has to have that same level of mentality at this level. And I think he will.
He had 14 sacks, 16 and a half tackles there in Michigan. Clearly, at least in his first year, I don't think he's going to match that, but I think that he's going to have a great rookie season.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I think that's the one I expect the most out of because he's definitely going to start for the Lions because the Lions are garbage. So he's definitely going to start for him. And I think he could turn that whole entire program around and take significant strides to be successful. And I'm looking for big things from him. All right, we'll switch a little bit of gears here, and we'll go to segment 3, which is our women's NBA. They are competing in their season right now. First thing we'll talk about is the Minnesota Lynx defeated the Chicago Sky 81-78 to end their 5-game winning streak. Tim, what do you think about that?
Well, that's really not the story of this game, though. The story of this game is Candace Park and Sylvia Bolks. Um, Sylvia Bolt. They are very familiar with each other. Bolt's going to be retiring this year. She said that this is going to be her last season. Um, they met in the 2008 Final Four. And they've been friends and rivals ever since then. They shared a hug before the game. Park was ultimately not able to keep up with Sylvia in this game, but that's pretty much been their entire career. Foles, she's been doing fantastic. She's leading the league with a 64.5 field goal percentage, and
That's pretty impressive.
36, 38 years old, something like that. But yeah, I think that the story was that this is the last time they're going to meet. This is this last game they're going to have against each other, and like I said, they've been friends and rivals ever since that Final Four. And well, I don't know, just good luck to Sylvia and everything that she has to look forward to after her retirement. And fantastic career, probably going to end up in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this game was kind of shocking. The Chicago Sky are number one in the standings right now, and the Lynx are one spot out of last place. So my story for the game was Aerial Powers for the Lynx had 22 points, 11 rebounds. That's pretty impressive. And Candace Parker, which you just mentioned, you can never go wrong with her. She is the leading scorer, and she kept them in the game, especially with her precision beyond the three-point line. But ultimately, they snapped their five-game winning streak. So congrats to the Lynx for that. That's a pretty big accomplishment because the Sky are just tearing it up right now. All right. So now the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to talk a little bit about the Brittany Griner situation, and we're not going to get way crazy political about it. There's stuff on both sides. We're just going to go over, what happened and our thought process on it. So, Tim, I'll let you take it first. First off, what do you think about the situation?
Well, okay. Clearly she did have the vape pen, and she shouldn't have.
I got a vape pen right here. It doesn't have hash oil in it.
Right. However, I think that it's pretty clear that Russia is. They're trumping up these charges because that she was charged with intent to deliver, basically, which is, okay, if you're gonna be dealing drugs, is there enough in a vape pen for you to deal?
People do some pretty crazy things, but I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I think that clearly they're just trumping up the charges, and the fact that she has now pled guilty. You really shouldn't read too much into that because I don't know if you're at all familiar with the Russian judicial system, but acquittals are extremely rare there.
Yeah, it's crazy, crazy.
Right, and the only thing that if she tried to mount some kind of big defense, the only thing that would happen probably is that the prison officials would probably take it out on her.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, there's a good chance that there's going to be some sort of prisoner exchange here. Russia is actually wanting an arms dealer named Victor Bouts. He's serving a 25-year sentence. That's who they want, but it's unlikely that the Biden administration is going to agree to that just because of the disparity in the seriousness of the crimes.
Right.
I think that ultimately they will work out a trade for someone, but I don't think it's going to be that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so for our viewers that don't know exactly what happened, Brittany Griner, phenomenal basketball player. She was phenomenal in women's college basketball. She was playing basketball overseas in Russia. Uh, that's for extra money, and that's a debate for another day. I personally believe that they should get paid as much as the men do on the men's side because she doesn't get paid nothing compared to LeBron James, and she's probably one of the best women's basketball players. So I definitely think that needs taken care of. But she was in Russia making money for her family. Now, I am not saying what she did was okay. By no means is that okay. She should have known that you can't do that. And it's going to be a lot more strict in Russia than it is in America. It's pretty clear. So, anyway, she got caught with hash oil, is what it is. And Timmy's right. You put it in vape pens. That's what you do. Um, she did plead guilty in court today, but like you said, Tim, it, she had to basically, and I think it helps her case as far as coming back to America that she pleaded guilty. Because if she was
Right.
going to fight that, they're not going to let her. She's going to go serve her 10 years in prison in Russia.
Right.
That's what's going to happen. But Griner is basically pleading and begging to come back to America. She has wrote a letter to President Biden, and her wife spoke to Biden's team, which I thought was pretty neat. Biden said that he's going to do everything in his power to get her back over where she belongs. So they held a rally for her team and
Oh
coach.
yeah, she was also named to the All Star game.
Yep, which is really cool. Like I said, ultimately she shouldn't have done it,
Right.
but at the same time, it's a little different in Russia, and I don't think she's being treated fairly, even though she did do it in another country. She's not being treated fairly, in my opinion, and I really hope that her team and our president will make it right and bring her back here where she belongs. And I just want to see her play basketball. That's what I want to see, and she's
Right.
very good at it. And I know the women's coach has taken a lot of flack for what she said. Brittany Griner's coach, she said, if this was LeBron James, he would already be over here. There's probably some validity in that point.
Right.
There really is. I mean, let's be honest. And like I said, we're not getting political, but let's be honest. Women's basketball is not seen as high as men's basketball, and it raises a bunch of questions. So she probably shouldn't have said that because she's going to catch a lot of flack for it. But she did say it, and that just shows you how passionate her team and her family are over her. And for God's sake, she was overseas making more money for her family. I'm not saying that she's right for what she did because she's not, but we need to give her a little bit of a break. She's not a criminal by any means.
Right. I just want to point out that if she had been caught somewhere here in the U.S., we should be looking at a fine.
That's what I was about to say. She'd be a fine, at most a misdemeanor, and
Right.
it's probably not even going to be a misdemeanor. It's probably going to be a fine. Heck, here you go. Here's your ticket. Continue
Right.
driving. They might take it from you,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that's about it. So ultimately, she should have known better. She should have, but at the same time, 10 years. Come on,
Right. Right.
for a little bit of vape juice.
Yeah, well, I think that that's what's going on here is that Russia saw an opportunity to. We know what's going on with Russia right now. I mean, they saw an opportunity to try to get some leverage in that situation there, maybe get some of their people out of jail. I think that is entirely what is going on here.
Oh, 100%. So hopefully they make it all right. Everybody gets happy. They bring her back because she's been there long enough. She really has.
Right.
And she needs to be back over here where she belongs, playing with her teammates and spending time with her wife. All right, so enough with that situation. Let's move on a little bit. This will be our last part of the women's basketball. And I have a completely different intake on this. It's not per se her stats, but it's something else. But, Tim, who do you think is the best women's NBA basketball player currently?
Sue Bird.
Okay.
This
Why?
Well, this is also her last season. She's going to be retiring after this season as well. She's a four-time champion. She is the leader in the career assist. Um, she's a record 13-time All-Star with her selection again this year. Um, I think that there could really be no question as to who the best is right now.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I just went a different route with it. We're talking about older players being goats, and you mentioned Tom Brady and now Bird. I'm going to complete different. We've already talked about her a little bit, but personally, I think Candace Parker. She always gives her team that chance to win, and she's ultra competitive. She's like the female version of Tom Brady, in my opinion. She doesn't have the stat line that per se Bird does, or even Diana Taurasi. She doesn't have that stat line, but her heart and her leadership is what sets it out for me. He has that heart and leadership just like Tom Brady does. So ultimately, I would take Candace Parker, and it has nothing to do with stats. Although I would take her on my team any day of the week if I'm a coach,
Right.
but it has nothing to do with stats, and I just wanted to throw that out there. I think she's the best because sometimes leadership and heart is what you need to be a best player, and that's exactly what she has. So much respect to her. All right, in our last segment, 10, this is going a lot quicker than I thought it would, buddy. I kind of like it. All right, our last segment's NASCAR. I know we have a lot of buddies. My buddy Marcus, he's a big NASCAR guy. Always has to watch the race. So we'll recap first off the last race. Tyler Reddick won his Road of America, which was first NASCAR win. He outdueled defending champ and current points leader Chase Elliott to win the race in Wisconsin. This was Reddick's 92nd career race, and he finally got first in one of them. And he actually had 5 second-place finishes so in his career. So he's definitely been there. Like, he's been almost there, like getting really close to it. And he didn't get it. So he drives tough, he drives hard, and I'm happy he finally got his first win. What were your thoughts on that, Tim?
Well, I would just point out that he's been close so many times. Chris Buescher was talking about it after the race, and he said that he thought he'd actually won before. He wasn't even aware that he had never won before.
That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Congrats to him. He'll be coming into Atlanta this weekend.
Looking to go back to back.
Right.
Hope he does. He seems like a good guy, unlike Kurt and Kyle Busch. Anyway, our next point is I've never seen this really. This next point, it's pretty interesting. NASCAR docked points and fines for JR Motorsports driver Noah Gragson for quote-unquote intentionally causing a 13-car pileup at the last race, Road to America. What were your thoughts on that, Tim?
Well, it was uncalled for. I mean, it was dangerous. I mean, he could have seriously injured or killed somebody, God forbid. I mean, his boss said. I mean, he didn't really say anything about it. He just said that he was shocked that he would make a decision like that. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but I think there may be a good chance that he's going to be moving on from JR Motorsports.
Yeah, and you know who his boss is, right?
Yeah, Junior.
Okay, which brings me to my point about it. All right. First off, he was docked 30 points, which is a lot.
Right. He's still in fourth place though.
Yeah, he didn't lose his points, or I mean, he didn't lose his position.
His position, right? But the fifth place guy is only 5 points behind him now.
Yeah, and they fined him $35,000, which once again is probably pocket change, for intentionally wrecking Karam, I think is how you spell it, and causing a very scary 13-car pileup.
Yeah, he said that Karam kept hitting. I don't know. I didn't even buy his explanation for why he said he did it the guy did it 3 times or something.
Yep, and NASCAR didn't immediately penalize him. People were a little upset about that, but I'm kind of like, they got to investigate it. They have to.
Well, yeah, because after the race, they took him into the trailer and they talked to him. And I mean, I don't know what he said to them, but whatever he told them, it it made them decide that he needed to be dealt with.
Yeah, and how they investigated, they looked at his car, which it's a Chevy. They made sure there was no malfunctions that caused it, which does happen in a NASCAR race. There was none. The car was squeaky clean. There was no issues. It was clearly intentional. So then, after they did their investigation, they docked him and fined him. But what I find interesting, Dell Jr. really didn't say anything.
Right.
He did criticize him, like constructive criticism. Like he didn't understand why he did that. Now, my question is, you're racing for Dell Jr., whose dad
Right.
was a great
Yep.
race car driver, number one,
I was thinking about that too.
and he got killed racing. And not a purpose. There wasn't intent behind
Right.
Dale Earnhardt dying. But NASCAR, ever since that death, has made racing safer. Now you have a guy out here that's racing for the guy's brother or the guy's son, and you're going to race like a moron. And try to,
I would almost bet that we're going to see him leaving JR Motorsports.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm Dell Jr., I'm very upset about that. Like that's how
Right.
my dad died, literally.
Right.
Like you're going to go out here and cause what? Thank God nobody was seriously injured or killed. But you're going to go out here and cause something that could have happened like that. Man, it's a disgrace. It really is.
It is.
It really upsets me that number one, it's Dell Jr. 's your boss.
Right.
So, I honestly I don't think docking 30 points and finding $35,000 is enough.
I don't
That's
either.
just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
Should be
wait,
suspended.
that's what I was thinking because I mean, clearly he could have seriously injured or killed someone,
Absolutely.
and so I think it just feels to me like they should take it a little more seriously.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. So, yeah, I see some changes happening. Dell Jr. could go get someone better. I'm sure that's not going to act like that. I don't even think Kurt or Kyle Busch would do something like that, and I can't stand those two.
Right.
All right. So anyway, enough with that. Our next race is Sunday. So it's coming up this weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway at 3 p.m. The defending champion is who I just talked about, Kurt Busch. Ugh. But for myself, I haven't watched a lot of NASCAR. Just for the viewers that know, I was a huge Dale Earnhardt fan and a huge Dale Jr. fan, and I haven't really watched it since Dale Jr. retired. But ultimately, I'm going to take Chase Elliott to win this race. He's been racing real well. He's the points leader, and I just think he's going to have enough to get it done. Tim, what's your thoughts on the next race and who you pick to win?
Well, this race here for the players that are still looking to make the playoffs. This is probably their last good chance to do it. So you're going to see guys trying to make some moves here. The track is going to play a little differently than the last time they were there. The last time they were there, it had just been repaved, and they were able to run it more of a speedway thing. Now that the asphalt has had time to bake in that hot Atlanta sun, it's going to play like it usually does, and where handling is going to be an issue. So instead of just being able to, lay the hammer down, you're going to have to try to kind of finesse it this time. Grip is definitely going to be an issue for drivers this time. My choice is Ryan Blaney. This is a guy. He has a good feel for drafting, and at the Atlanta Speedway, it's a course where drafting really comes into play, and I just feel like he's going to he's going to take the lead here.
I don't disagree with that pick. It's a pretty good pick, kind of out of the box pick. I like it. But we'll see. I do. Well, I was gonna say I plan to watch it, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I will try to watch it. if I get home in time. So with that, that's the end of our Friday show. Once again, for the viewers, we do this Monday through Friday, so that means we are off on a weekend. And we of course hope our viewers have a great weekend, safe weekend, of course, and watch as many sports as you can. And write into the show at the Markley Sportscast at gmail.com and let us know what you want to talk about next week. We could definitely make that happen. I know for myself, in our first episode, we talked about my little sports tour I play on. And hold on, I gotta brag a little bit. You guys remember this thing, right? This nice little trophy that I won in my league. We have that event coming up Sunday, so that's our first one since our first episode of the podcast when we talked about it. So definitely on Monday we will have a short little segment on that and how all the golfers did. I play the number one golfer in the league, so we'll see how well I play there. Other than that, I hope you guys once again have a great weekend. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to go to our Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff, and give us a like over the weekend. Tell your friends about it, share it, do all that fun stuff for us. Greatly appreciate that. Tim, it's been a great week, short week.
Yep.
We were off on Monday because of the holiday, so it's been a great short week, man. I appreciate you, and
I appreciate you too.
all right, buddy. Well, viewers,
All our viewers, we appreciate you. Come back next week and bring all your friends.
that's right, buddy. All right, guys, you guys have a great one, and we'll see you on Monday.